switch. Almighty God, the creator and ruler of heaven and earth, we beseech thee to inspire and guide all our actions so that we may always walk in the path of justice, love, and charity to one another. Help us with thy grace to do only those things that will promote the unity, peace, happiness, and prosperity of Nigeria in general and Lagos State in particular. Amen. Thank you. Ẹ jẹ́ ká wo ìwé àkọsílẹ̀ ọjọ́rú oṣù kẹwàá ọdún 2023. Ojú ewé kìíní, ojú ewé kejì, ojú ewé kẹta, ojú ewé kẹrin, ojú ewé karùn-ún, mo ti ṣe àyẹ̀wò ìwé àkọsílẹ̀ ìpàdé tó kọjá, mo fi òǹtẹ̀ lù. Any message from the governor?
The Speaker, honorable members, Lagos State House of Assembly, there is no message from the governor.
Other announcements?
None, ma'am.
Petition?
None, ma'am.
Matters of urgent public importance? Honorable Elliott.
Good afternoon, my right honorable Speaker. Good afternoon, colleagues. I thank you for the honor of standing here to bring up a matter of urgent public importance. And it has to do with the unsettling nature and crisis that is being witnessed now in Rivers State. Right honorable Speaker, the legislature is being confirmed and is being instituted by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999 Constitution as altered, where in section 4, subsection 6 and 7, totally gives us, the legislative arm, the right to be separated in governance. So there it clearly states the separation of powers, thereby showing that the Legislative House is a sacred institution, is a place for the promotion of democracy. My right honorable Speaker, the sanctity of the Parliament and is fundamental to the functioning of democracy in any government. And if the security is being jeopardized by people we know and we do not know in the Legislative House, then it means that our democracy is being called to question. Indeed, my right honorable Speaker, there are issues that could come up in the Legislative House. Parliamentarians know how to sort out and settle their differences. Indeed, we do have our own legislative language, and so must be carried out. The question comes to bear: how was the new Speaker of the Rivers State House of Assembly elected? Did they follow through process? If not, I urge us to condemn it in its entirety. In balancing it, how also is the process to remove the chief executive of the state? Are we also following due process? I must bring it to our minds today that impeachment is a democratic process, and it is embedded in the Constitution of the Federal Republic, but must be carried out with due process and due diligence being followed. Also, Madam Speaker, I also want to say that the Chief Executive of Rivers State also called for the suspension of the Chief Judge of the state. I stand here to say that that is wrong and undemocratic and not constitutional. The only institution embedded with the power to do such is the House of Assembly of that state, of which 2/3 of its members must agree to the removal of such. So we also as well condemn that act. This also leads us to the fact that we also want to condemn in its entirety the burning of the parliament at the Rivers State House of Assembly. The Punch newspaper of 29th October 2023 pointed figures at the executive meddling in the affairs of the legislature must be stopped and must be condemned. They have no right to burn it. They have no right to close an institution. The crisis that's emanating in Rivers State did not emanate from the State House of Assembly. It emanated from the executive. And as such, we urge that the executive should be the one that should close its office and not the office. It's an aberration to the Constitution to close a legislative arm. It must be noted that the legislative arm is a separate arm of government and must be treated as such and not an MDA of the executive government. To this end, Madam Speaker, I also want to say, with some prayers, with your permission, to give some prayers towards this end.
Go ahead.
Thank you, ma. But before then, ma, I also want to say as well that this kind of situation, if it's not curbed right now or nipped in the bud, we will also have the kind of crisis that we had a couple of years ago in Edo State, of which till date, the roof of the House of Parliament has not been fixed. This is a total disrespect of the legislative arm. My prayers, ma, is one, to call on members of the Rivers State House of Assembly to use their parliamentary powers to sort out their differences. Two, is to call on the governor to adhere strictly to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, by which he cannot meddle into the affairs of the State Assembly. Thirdly, I call on the Senate President, Senator Godswill Akpabio, and also the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, to quickly, as Democrats, nip this situation in the bud, as it's becoming an unending trend. And if we do not stop it today, then it will have a problem with us next time. Indeed, one for all for one. We are the legislature, and we should keep it protected for posterity. I also want to call on the Inspector General of Police to direct his men, his officers, to make sure that they reopen the Rivers State House of Assembly, as it is not constitutional for that assembly to be closed. Also, to instruct the Inspector General of Police, or to tell the Inspector General of Police to please ensure that democratic principles are being adhered to in the Rivers State House of Assembly. Finally, ma, I want to call on the Speaker, the Chairman of the Conference of Speakers, Right Honorable Adiola Ogundoyin, that he should please condemn this act, and not only that, liaise with all other speakers of state assemblies to meet their houses and also condemn this act. We must protect the institution of the legislature, because that is what we have as the symbol of democracy. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you. Honorable Adewale, 2 minutes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I also want to join my colleague, Honorable Desmond Elliott, to also condemn the acts that we have seen at the sister House of Assembly, where 8 members were elected. One of them was elected as the Speaker of the House, and the executive governor of that state went on social media, unconfirmed report, if it is his personal handle, to congratulate the new Speaker, where only 8 members that do not form a quorum to elect a new Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I think it's becoming a norm for members to have disagreements amongst themselves, and then there's some form of interference from the executive arm of the government. I think the Constitution is very clear. The Constitution has stated clearly that there shall be 3 arms of government, and the 3 arms of government will work in their capacity. So where one arm of government is interfering with the other, we are calling for anarchy. Section 14(2)(b) of our Constitution has stated clearly that the security of lives and property shall be our primary responsibility as a government people. But then the government premises, which is the legislative house, was burnt down. Madam Speaker, I want to use this opportunity to also condemn and to also call on my colleagues to have conscience, to remember we are the custodian of democracy, and we should also lead by example. So I join the prime mover of this motion to also condemn the act that we have seen in Rivers State, and call on my colleagues to come together and resolve whatever issues they have amongst themselves, so that they can continue to be the people's representative which they have been elected for. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable Olumego, 2 minutes, please.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I get up this afternoon to join the prime mover of this motion to lend my voice to it, because basically I'm really concerned why the legislature is always at the receiving end of such contemptuous attack. Just like it's rightly said, it's happened before in Edo State, where the roof was removed just because they had notion that the deputy governor was going to be impeached. Same thing is happening in Edo State also. I would like to bring it to this house that this very chamber that was attacked was the main chamber we're talking about in the House of Assembly. And it's right in front of the state command force in the state. So it's very concerning. Is it that they don't have securities enough in the state assembly where such thing is happening? And such interference, we understand that godfatherism in politics is a thing, but why is it that the legislatures are the ones that consistently have to face this backlash of these issues? So lastly, I would urge all Democrats, please, to not take this lightly, because it's just like the prime mover has said, it's becoming a norm whereby we'll see certain things happening, and at the end of the day, we are the ones suffering the consequences. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Honorable Said.
Good afternoon, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to commend the prime mover of this motion, Honorable Desmond Hilliard. It's an insurrection against democracy. The dividend of democracy will elude the people of Cross River if this is not checkmate, because the legislature is an independent arm of the government that is specifically elected to do certain functions that are prescribed by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And if the people of Cross River State to understand this, and there is independence of the judiciary, that of legislation, and that of the executive, I see no reason why the executive should meddle in the affair of the legislature, because they have different functions to perform. On the basis of this, whoever that must have done this wants to erode the dividend of democracy that the people of Cross River State has been enjoying for so long. I pray that the people of Cross River should resist this. The people of River State should resist this and put check and balances in place. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Sonny, 2 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Good afternoon, honorable colleagues. The setting on fire of the House of Assembly of River State is, to say the least, barbaric, awful, and very, very shameful. Madam Speaker, it will interest you to know that the governor of the state invaded the House of Assembly, and that is contemptuous and condemnable. The legislature, the parliament, if you like, is the only reason for democracy. You may have the executive as military, and have the judiciary. That is militocracy. And when we're talking about democracy, we are talking about three arms of government, which is the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. I wouldn't say because you are emphasizing that a judgment will not favor you, then you go out to to set on fire the court. The answer is no. So, Madam Speaker, I totally want to support the proponent, Honorable Desmond Elliott, for bringing this to the fore, while I enjoin my colleagues to condemn in its entirety this barbaric and pedestrian act. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Tijani, 2 minutes.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I also join my colleagues to condemn the act of Rivers State. I think a democracy without legislative arm is not democracy. And it has got to the stage that there is no more respect for taxpayers' money. If a chamber that was built with a multi-purpose, multi-millions of naira are being set ablaze because of simple interest, this is not just too good enough. And I want to use this opportunity to appreciate our president who built the unity in Lagos State today. And when he built this unity, he was quoted fatherism. An organization without leader, this is the result. So I also join my police to condemn what happened at Rivers State. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Lua, 2
Good
minutes.
afternoon, Madam Speaker. Good afternoon, distinguished colleagues. I want to thank the prime mover of this motion this afternoon. What has happened in Rivers State calls for condemnation, not just from legislators, but from everybody, every quarter in Nigeria. From what we gathered, the chamber of the House of Assembly was brought down. That is an attack on the legislature. That is also an attack on democracy. And an attack on one is an attack on all. We have all clamored and fought so hard. Our leaders have fought so hard to have this democracy installed, for people to have their voices. And the voice of the people is the legislature. And I want to stand this afternoon to support this motion and condemn the act and everything that is going on in Rivers State, and to call on the security agencies to bring normalcy back to the state, because what we do as government is to provide security for lives and properties. And if the security of the government is not even safe, I think it calls for caution. And I want to stand here to condemn that act in entirety. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Afini, 2 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I also want to join my colleagues to condemn what happened in Rivers State. What I find appalling is that the governor of the state went to visit the House of Assembly after it was burnt down, and he said he went to inspect the damages and all that. I don't know which of the speakers received them. I don't know why he will come to the House of Assembly, which is another arm of government. The executive needs to understand that other arms of government, even though one side is called, one is called the executive, all other arms are self-executing themselves too. So they need to understand that and put into motion how to implement the autonomy that has been signed by the former president. So on this note, I support what the prime mover of this motion has said and all his prayers, but I also like him to add that the Chairman Conference of Speakers, Right Honorable Debo Ogundoyin, the Speaker of Oyo State House of Assembly, should also continue the good works that the former chairman, Right Honorable Mudashiru Obasa, put in place to push for the implementation of the autonomy, the Executive Order 10, the autonomy of all legislative houses across all states in the country. It is very compulsory. And also, we should not be self-serving alone. The local government autonomy too also needs to be implemented, because the governor has also dissolved legislative councils that were duly elected,
how do we want to get grassroots development across the state in Rivers? So please, help us add that to your prayers. Thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Majority, 2 minutes, please.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I would like to start from where my last colleague spoke, and that's Honorable Afini. I would like to correct the notion that the governor actually visited the House of Assembly. No, the governor stormed the House of Assembly from reports that we have heard all over the place in River State House of Assembly. Having said that, however, the laws are clear, just like some of my colleagues have actually stated. The question, however, for determination would be that even the House of Assembly on its own, or the governor on its own, do they actually have the power to, for instance, remove the Chief Judge without any recourse to the National Judicial Council? Based on those recommendations, that is when it becomes a legal standing position to take when it comes to the removal of judicial officers. Having said that, the area of concentration, however, will be the legislature. The legislature is supposed to be a sacred place, just like we have in Lagos State House of Assembly. We are definitely the progenitors of political progress and prowess, but this doesn't seem to apply in the River State House of Assembly, because if so, how can a collection of 8 people out of 32 suddenly say they wake up one day and elect a new speaker? How can we possibly say that the decision of 24 out of 32 members does not stand in terms of the suspension that went on under the authority? Under what authority, however, was the decision of a new speaker taken? Was the maize even present? That symbol of authority that belongs to the legislature, was it present? Those are issues to look at. And on a final note, not belaboring what most people have said, while condemning authoritatively, I would say, however, that since when did impeachment notice from the House of Assembly become an offense such that it was a reason for determinants of the suspension of the judicial officer? Having said all of this, however, it is a very huge slap on the tenets of democracy and the principles that the legislature stand for. But just like one of my colleagues said, the Lagos State House of Assembly has always prided itself as a chamber that stands above every common standard of excellence. And I believe that, just like Honorable Desmond said, the Chairman Conference of Speakers, the attention should be called to him to be able to put all of this in order, because the principle of checks and balances and the separation of powers is being trampled upon. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable Gundipe.
Once again, I want to appreciate Madam Speaker for giving us the audience to talk about an issue that is very germane. Let me also join my other colleagues to appreciate Honorable Desmond for bringing this up. It's something that concerns us, because injustice to one is injustice to all. We were shocked when we saw the manner the whole House of Assembly was burnt to ashes, how electoral processes, how governance was disrupted in Rivers State. And what do we need to say about this? This will surely lead to anarchy and instability. And we cannot stand, despite all that has been given, all that has been put in to bring this into force by our forefathers. We know what the current president suffered through We know what our current speaker also suffered through to put governance in place. And also the economic and social implications to the good people of Rivers State. So I am also in support of my colleagues that separation of power is a thing we must support at every point in time. Speaker, sir, I want to appreciate you. I want to say to the whole world that Lagos House of Assembly will condemn this with all the blood and flesh in our system. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Honorable Tobin. 2 minutes, please.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Well, I rise up this afternoon to support what my colleagues, Honorable Desmond Elias, have brought to floor. Well, first and foremost, we must condemn in totality the act, because we don't need to support a bad precedent. If we did not condemn it, it will be they are setting a precedent, and it will be a bad precedent. I feel this is an attack on democracy, and it's a coup on the parliament. The parliament has a way of handling issues, and the parliament has a way of resolving their issues. So it's an aberration for somebody to come from outside the parliament, either from executive of the fifth columnist, to tending or planning to instigate chaos within the parliament. I feel it's a coup on the parliament. And I believe it's an attack on the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, because it has been clearly stated out the functionality of the three arms of government. So if one arm is trying to invade on the second arm, it's an attack on that Constitution. And that is the Constitution that we've all sworn to uphold in carrying out our functions and activities as part of the government. So I feel the rate of dissolutions, the rate of removals in Rivers State within a space of less than 12 hours is becoming and unbecoming. So we feel we should condemn this in totality so as not to set a bad precedent, because we know what is going on in some countries in Africa and even sub-Saharan Africa. We don't want our democracy to be truncated by any means or any guides or some shenanigans. So we want to condemn in totality what is going on in Rivers State and urge them to maintain status quo and allow the three arms of government to function to the fullest. So my submission, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Well, I would like to join my colleagues to condemn the incident that happened in Rivers State in totality. It is sad, it is heartbreaking that an arm of government tried to invade and take charge of another arm of government. It is wrong. We all need to condemn this. And it wasn't even setting the chamber on fire alone. From what I read yesterday, an object was used, grenade was used to bring down, to set that place on fire. That is totally wrong. And I think questions should also be asked. The security agents should also ask questions, because the assembly is actually on the same street with the police command in Rivers. What happened? What went wrong? Secondly, as legislators, we are bound to have issues. Even the tongue and the mouth have misunderstanding, and they resolve. Whatever issues, whatever problems we have within ourselves should be sorted within ourselves without any interference from the executive or external forces. We should be able to resolve matters amicably as leaders, as adults, without violence or causing chaos. This is an act that we need to condemn. the House is the life of any democratic government. So anybody trying to bring down the House is trying to put an end to democracy, which I think this is totally wrong. So, Honorable Desmond, can you please take us through your prayer again? Thank you.
Thank you, my right honorable speaker. Firstly, is to call on members of the River State House of Assembly to please use their parliamentarian language and sort out their differences. Secondly, is to call on the governor of River State to forthwith stop with the invasion of the parliament and adhere to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thirdly, is to call on the Senate President and the Speaker of the House of Representatives, who are Democrats, to act quickly and expedite action as to the investigation of what the crisis is in a view to protecting the institution of the legislature. Also call on the Inspector General of Police to investigate thoroughly the incident of bombings that occurred at the River State House of Assembly. The Inspector General of Police to also ensure that there is a reopening of the River State House of Assembly as being embedded in the Constitution, and also to protect its members and everyone there. Also, and finally, to call on the chairman of the Conference of Speakers to liaise with other speakers of houses of assemblies to condemn this condemnable act, and also to fast-track the process of ensuring that there's autonomy for state houses of assembly. Thank you. I so move.
Thank you. Honorable Aro.
Right Honorable Speaker, my distinguished honorable colleagues, I rise to second the motion as moved.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Mr. Clerk, kindly do the needful. Personal explanation. None. Report. None. Majority Leader.
Right Honorable Speaker, distinguished colleagues, order of the day. Presentation of reports. House of Assembly Bill number 03. Appropriation Amendment Bill 2023. That a bill for a law to amend the Appropriation Law 2023 and to authorize the reordering of 761 billion 218 million 455,055 naira from the Consolidated Revenue Fund for recurrent expenditure and 1,6,795,700,230 naira from the Development Fund for capital expenditure, thereby totaling a revised budget size of 1,768,014,155,285 naira for the year ending 31st December 2023 by Honorable Olumo SL Ajiromi Ifeluduwan, Chairman Committee on Economic Planning and Budget. Mr. Speaker, sir, for us to take this presentation, may I move that this House resolve to Committee of the Whole? I so move.
Honorable Aino.
Mr. Speaker, I rise.
Committee of Supply.
Supply.
Thank you. Majority Leader.
Right Honorable Speaker, distinguished colleagues, once again, may I move that this House refer to Committee of Supply. Thank you.
Honorable Aina.
I rise to second the motion being moved by the majority leader.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable Olumo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. My colleagues, good afternoon. The report of the Committee on Economic Planning and Budget on the Appropriation Law 2023 Amended Bill 2023. The Right Honorable Speaker, Honorable colleagues, the Clerk of the House at the plenary sitting on Thursday, 10th of October 2023, read a letter dated 6th October 2023 from Mr. Babajide Olushola Sanwo-Olu, the Governor of the state, seeking the approval of the House for reordering of priority under the year 2023 budget. In order to make some adjustment because of some of the major MDAs that are supposed to implement the capital expenditure are performing below expectation, while others have almost exhausted their budgetary provision. Also, the removal of fuel subsidy and the harmonization of the exchange rate resulted in economic challenges for the citizens. Sir, it has therefore become expedient to ameliorate the resultant impact of reviewing the present structure of the budget to provide support to the people through provision of palliative and to specifically drive capital expenditure by the completion of various ongoing capital projects. Subsequently, the second reading of the bill took place at the plenary on Tuesday, 10th October 2023, and same committed to the Committee on Economic Planning and Budget for necessary action. B. Objective of the reordering. The objective of the reordering is to address the current demand and necessities, such as completion of Phase 2 Blue Line, procurement of rolling stock Blue and Red Lines, channelization of ferry route, Ikorodu-Mende Channel, provision of various programs and projects for social inclusion, gender equality, and youth, completion of Lekki-Epe Road Phase 2, Aja-Epe, provision of palliatives, provision of security and emergency equipment, completion of Omo Creek and zero tolerance for pothole, etc. Brief on second quarter 2023 budget. The budget performance of the state, according to Mr. Governor's letter, was 76% as at 30th June 2023, with the breakdown as follows. Total ordinary revenue, 73%, total recurrent expenditure, 67%, and total capital expenditure, 82%. C. Findings. In the course of consideration of the request of Mr. Governor, spanning over 1 week of rigorous and thorough scrutinization, the committee invited officials from the Ministry of Economic Planning and Budget, Finance, State Treasury Office, and Debt Management Office to shed more light on the Governor's request. The Commissioner for Finance informed the committee that the 2 billion palliative fund, an increment in federal transfers from the federal government, will have a reduction effect on the deficit financing of the state. Thereafter, the committee observed the following. The total revenue remains 1,417,604 million. That is 1.417604 trillion. Year 2023 approved budget, with Lagos State Internal Revenue Service revenue projection retained at 682.906 billion. The federal transfer of 274.235 billion was retained, and capital received still remains at 97.158 billion. While the total overhead cost increased to 477.215 billion from 431.688 billion. Capital expenditure was proposed to be revised downward to 773.8637 billion from 795.339 billion, while loan and bond repayment remains at 244.579 billion. The total budget size still stood at 1.768.014 trillion. Mr. Speaker, sir, Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, and distinguished colleagues, based on the submission of the Ministry of Economic Planning and Budget and the affected MDAs, some have been recommended for additional budgetary provision for effective operation of government, while some have been proposed for reprioritizing of their fund to other developmental state programs. Below are the line-by-line details of the committee findings. May I seek your permission to go to the recommendations?
Please go ahead.
Thank you, ma'am. That's on page 8. D, recommendation. In view of the above findings, the committee hereby recommend as follows: that 1, the sum of 156,019,277 be the new capital expenditure in the office of the Deputy Governor. 2, the sum of 8,248,407 naira be the new capital expenditure in the office of civic engagement. 3, the sum of 146,371,712 be the new capital expenditure in the office of chief of staff. 4, the sum of 2 billion be the new capital expenditure in the office of SA EGIS. 5, the sum of 26,780,256 naira be the new capital expenditure in the Prestata Monitoring Office. 6, the sum of 30,289 naira 735 be the new capital expenditure in the Liaison Office. The sum of 23,051 naira be the new capital expenditure in the Office of State Auditor General. 8, the sum of 6,592 naira 777 be the new capital expenditure in the Office of Internal Audit. 9, the sum of 15,142,500,000 and 5 billion be the new overhead cost and capital expenditure, social intervention and humanitarian program, respectively, in the Ministry of Economic Planning and Budget. 10, the sum of 4,117,407,636 be the new overhead cost, MEPB statewide, in the Ministry of Economic Planning and Budget. 11, the sum of 1,024,105,057 naira be the new overhead cost and capital expenditure, current and standing liability in the Ministry of Economic Planning and Budget. 12, the sum of 252,459,462 naira be the new capital expenditure facility management in the Ministry of Economic Planning and Budget. The sum of 7.5 billion be the new capital expenditure counterpart fund in the Ministry of Economic Planning and Budget. 14, the sum of 11,868,113,711 be the new capital expenditure, special expenditure in the Ministry of Economic Planning and Budget.
The sum of 365 million be the new capital expenditure community stroke grassroots project in the Ministry of Economic Planning and Budget. 16. The sum of 12,533,807,901 and the sum of 9,950,974,670 naira be the new overhead cost and capital expenditure contingency fund, the Ministry of Economic Planning and Budget. 17. The sum of 951,340,393 naira be the new capital expenditure Lagos State Wealth Fund in the Ministry of Economic Planning and Budget. A new budget line overhead cost public enlightenment MEPB be created with the sum of 1 billion naira in the Ministry of Economic Planning and Budget. The sum of 8,288,398 be the new capital expenditure in Lagos State Resilience Office. The sum of 1,699,780,642 naira be the new overhead cost global training vote in the Ministry of Establishment, Training and Pension. The sum of 131,003,370 naira be the new capital expenditure Latif Jakonde Leadership Academy in the Ministry of Establishment, Training and Pension. The sum of 4,806,120,363 be the new personnel cost contingency personnel cost in the Ministry of Establishment, Training and Pension. The sum of 90,276,182 be the new capital expenditure in the Office of Head of Service, Public Service Office. The sum of 39,596,800 be the new capital expenditure in the Civil Service Commission. The sum of 335,488,592 and 16,168,080 be the new subvention and capital expenditure respectively in the Lagos State Pension Commission. The sum of 5,092,249,139 be the new overhead cost in the Ministry of Finance. The sum of 853,016,455 be the new capital expenditure renovation of property revenue house in the Ministry of Finance. The sum of 50,825,449,300 be the new overhead cost professional fee in the Ministry of Finance. The sum of 7,004,982,690 be the new overhead cost debt charges bond and capital expenditure respectively the Debt Management Office. The sum of 104,192,871 naira be the new capital expenditure in Lagos State Internal Revenue Service. The sum of 381,550,000 be the new capital expenditure in the Lagos State Public Procurement Agency. The sum of 40,928,544 be the new capital expenditure in the Ministry of Information and Strategy. The sum of 9,854,573,447 and 335,221,51,000 be the new subvention and capital expenditure respectively in Lagos State Printing Corporation. The sum of 55,061,565 be the new capital expenditure in the Lagos State Record Archive Bureau. 35. The sum of 294,935,000 be the new capital expenditure in Lagos Traffic Radio. The sum of 2,243,935,142 be the new capital expenditure in the Ministry of Local Government and Community Affairs. The sum of 114,736 be the new capital expenditure in the Center for Rural Development. The sum of 161,834,140,000 be the new capital expenditure in the Local Government Service Commission. The sum of 14,705,788 be the new capital expenditure in the Local Government Establishment and Training. The sum of 140,435,443, 185,490,768 and 68,392,615 be the new capital expenditure, smart city projects, construction of new data center and Oracle upgrade and other respective the Ministry of Science and Technology. The sum of 187,625,279 and 100 million be the new capital expenditure, Oracle support maintenance and enterprise architecture and cyber security respectively in the Ministry of Science and Technology. The sum of 805,440,763 be the new capital expenditure in the Lagos State Residents Registration Agency. 43, the sum of 1,234,799 and 86 and 369,246,643 be the new overhead and capital expenditure respectively in the Ministry of Justice. 44, the sum of 432,183 and 144 and 200 million be the new capital expenditure, special intervention on magistrate court renovation, mobile court respectively in the Ministry of Justice. 45, the sum of 116,419,490 be the new capital expenditure, construction of prison in Ministry of Justice. 46, the sum of 6,341,963,000 be the new capital expenditure in the Lagos State Domestic and Sexual Violence Agency. The sum of 482,462,187 and 70,088,943 be the new overhead costs, like SEC election project, capital expenditure respectively in the Lagos State Independent Electoral Commission. 48, the sum of 3,643,602 be the new capital expenditure in the Law Reform Commission. 49, the sum of 2 billion capital expenditure judiciary ICT infrastructure project in Lagos State High Court be removed. The sum of 282,382,972 and 32,643,296 be the new personal cost, severance gratuity and retired judges and capital expenditure respectively in the Judicial Service Commission. The sum of 4,066,056 naira be the new capital expenditure in multi-door courthouse. 52, the sum of 12 billion capital expenditure procurement of specialized equipment, LSHA, MEPB in the Ministry of Special Duties and Intergovernmental Relations be removed. 53, the sum of 7.5 billion and 5.2 billion be the new overhead cost, capital expenditure, security and emergency intervention for the MEPB, respectively in the Ministry of Special Duty and Intergovernmental Relations. 54, the sum of 9.2 billion be the new overhead cost, special duty expenses in the Ministry of Special Duties and Intergovernmental Relations. 55, the sum of 899,281,762 be the new capital expenditure in the Lagos State Fire and Rescue Service. The sum of 1,099,385 naira 126,000 and 407,170 and 700 be the new subvention, capital expenditure respectively in the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency. The sum of 115,094,530 be the new capital expenditure in the Lagos State Safety Commission. The sum of 1.2 billion be the new capital expenditure in the Lagos State Neighborhood Safety Agency. The sum of 8,806, 461, 531, and 1,146,982,779 be the new capital expenditure Lagos Wholesale Produce Market and Agro-Processing Productivity Enhancement and Livelihood Support, respectively, in the Ministry of Agriculture. 60. The sum of 1,168,690,921 be the new overhead cost, rice mill, in the Ministry of Agriculture. 61. The sum of 19,363,540 and 84,961,106 be the new capital expenditure Lagos State Coconut Development Authority and Agri Land Holding Authority, respectively, in the Ministry of Agriculture. 62. The sum of 194,673,120 and 129,801,330 be the new capital expenditure Lekki Free Trade Zone and Development of Immortal Light Industrial Park, Beribe, Agemowo, and Immortal Enterprise Zone, respectively, in the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. 63. The sum of 20,546,870 be the new capital expenditure in Lagos State Cooperative College. 64. The sum of 11,777,371 be the new capital expenditure in the Lagos State Consumer Protection Agency. 65. The sum of 45,258,045 naira be the new capital expenditure in the Central Business District. 66. The sum of 61,250,000 be the new capital expenditure in the Office of Sustainable Development Goals. 67. The sum of 370,920,074 and 500 million be the new capital expenditure, creation of industrial hub, creation of gemstone hub, respectively, in the Ministry of Wealth Creation. The sum of 1,193,750,000 be the new capital expenditure in the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund. The sum of 608,225,040 naira and 500 million be the new capital expenditure Ministry of Energy, Electrification of Ibeju-Lekki, respectively, in the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources. 70. The sum of 1,071,123,965 be the new capital expenditure in the Bile, Oil and Gas. 71. The sum of 200,004,839, 4,722,468, 476,458,360 be the new capital expenditure rehabilitation, installation of street light retrofitting, solar power energy, audit community electrification, power reform rehabilitation, renewal project, and LSHA IPP Lagos facility, respectively, in the Lagos State Electricity Board. 72. The sum of 8,113,793,000. No, 8,113,793,000, 5,333,261 be the new capital expenditure Ministry of Tourism, Art and Culture, Development of Lagos Heritage, Construction of Tourism Center, respectively, in the Ministry of Tourism, Art and Culture. 73. The sum of 6,574,500 naira be the new capital expenditure in the Ministry in Lagos State Films and Video Censorship Board. 74. The sum of 920,435,957 and 3,082,255,458 be the new overhead costs and capital expenditure, respectively, in the Ministry of Transport. The sum of 1,884,161,612 be the new capital expenditure in Lagos State Parking Authority. 76. The sum of 25,282,589 be the new capital expenditure in the Lagos State Drivers Institute. 77. The sum of 39,249,367 be the new capital expenditure in the Motor Vehicle Administration Agency. 78. New budget line subvention provision of 50% passengers fare slash, removal of fuel subsidy, and refund of 50% passenger fare slash cashless policy be created with the sum of 3.6 billion and 840,107,871 respectively in Lagos State Metropolitan Area Transport Authority. 79. 80. The sum of 2,335,674,570 be the new capital expenditure Brewery Project, National Theatre to Marina in Lagos State Metropolitan Transport Authority. 81. The new budget line capital expenditure be created with the sum of 1 billion in the Lagos State Number Plate Production Authority. 82. The sum of 304,155,724 be the new expenditure in the Lagos Bus Services Limited. 83. The sum of 409,013,691 be the new capital expenditure in Lagos State Waterway Authority. 84. The sum of 142,693,082 be the new capital in Lagos Ferry Service. 85. The sum of 765,906,766 be the new capital expenditure Office of Work in the Ministry of Work and Infrastructure. 86. The new budget line capital expenditure Office of Infrastructure, rehabilitation stroke upgrading of Aradagun, Mosafejo, Ilagun, Imeke Road in Badagry, local government phase 3. Construction of Lagos Badagry carriage lot 2A, segment 3. Construction of Igbogbo Bayeku be created with the sum of 865,218,940,000, 11,712,22,623, and 2 billion respectively in the Ministry of Works and Infrastructure. 87. New budget line capital expenditure Office of Infrastructure, reconstruction upgrade of Okepopo Tapa Street in Lagos Island, rehabilitation of Femi Okunu Road, Ikoyi, Etiosa local government, advance payment and rehabilitation of Jumo Dutola Street through local government, recreated with the sum of 1,398,988,022.99 and 1,695,297,841 and 159,741,958 respectively in the Ministry of Works and Infrastructure. 88. New budget line capital expenditure Office of Infrastructure, rehabilitation upgrade Ebute Igbogbo Road, construction of jetty with terminal building at the Pakodo and Badore, reconstruction of Ishuti Road in Alimosho local government area be created with sum of 900,459,357 naira, 823,761,281 naira, 263,670,189 naira respectively in the Ministry of Works and Infrastructure. 89. New budget line capital expenditure Office of Infrastructure, construction of Akeson Igondo Road, dual carriageway, Omo Creek, and construction of special road to be created with the sum of 306,477,595, 25 billion and 25 billion respectively in the Ministry of Works and Infrastructure. 90. The new budget line capital expenditure Office of Infrastructure, bond project, construction of various roads and projects to be funded by NGF Infrastructure Fund be created with the sum of 20 billion, 20 billion and 5 billion respectively in the Ministry of Works and Infrastructure. 91. The sum of 123,873,999 naira be new capital expenditure in the Lagos State Infrastructure Maintenance and Rehabilitation Agency. 92. The sum of 2,780,203 352 naira be the new capital expenditure LSHA facility management in Lagos State Infrastructure Asset Management Agency. 93, the sum of 9,383,609,583 naira and 2 billion be the new capital expenditure road maintenance, public works, MEPB respectively in the Public Work Corporation. 94, the sum of 4,095,166,954 and 4,591,993,063 be the new capital expenditure construction of jetty and terminals and channelization respectively in the Ministry of Waterfront Infrastructure Development. 95, the sum of 157,799,924 be the new capital expenditure in the Ministry of Environment. 96, the sum of 209,733,149 be the new capital expenditure in the Lagos State Environmental Protection Agency. 97, the sum of 64,016,325 naira be the new capital expenditure in the Lagos State Environmental and Special Offences Enforcement Unit. 98, the sum of 20,925,000 be the new capital expenditure in the Lagos State Environment Sanitation Corps. 99, the sum of 24,056,248 naira be the new capital expenditure in Lagos State Wastewater Management Office. The sum of 100, the sum of 14,105,000,000 and 177,142,932 be the new subvention and capital expenditure respectively in the Lagos State Waste Management Agency. 101, the sum of 356,871,620 be the new capital expenditure Lagos State Government contribution for 200 new gas power truck for PSP operator in the Lagos State Waste Management Agency. 102, the sum of 38,750,000 naira be the new capital expenditure in the Lagos State Signage and Advertisement Agency. 103, the sum of 325,268,061 be the new capital expenditure in Lagos State Parks and Garden Agency. 104, the sum of 56,586,339 be the new capital expenditure in the Water Regulatory Commission. 105, the sum of 3,519,349,69 and 1,109,311,624 be the new capital expenditure Ministry of Housing and Bomb Project respectively in the Ministry of Housing. 106, the sum of 51,294,461 be the new capital expenditure Re-engineering Ministry of Lagos State Ministry of Housing Estate in Lagos State Real Estate Regulatory Authority. 107, the sum of 9,512,945 be the new capital expenditure in Lagos State Mortgage Board. 108, the sum of 2,220,054,380 and 1,036,785,229 be the new capital expenditure land compensation and acquisition of land around train station respectively in the Lands Bureau. 109, the sum of 51,578,000 be the new capital expenditure in the Lagos State Valuation Office. 110, the sum of 231,421,800 naira be the new capital expenditure in the Office of Surveyor General. 111, the sum of 751,285,360 be the new capital expenditure in the Ministry of Fiscal Planning and Urban Development. 112, the sum of 84,637,312 be the new capital expenditure in Lagos State Planning Permit Authority. 113, the sum of 290,356,386 be the new capital expenditure in the Lagos State Building Control Agency. 114, the sum of 26,325,000 be the new capital expenditure in the material testing laboratory. 115, the sum of 73,845,959 be the new capital expenditure in the new town development authority. 116, the sum of 8,775,000 be the new capital expenditure in Lagos State Planning and Environmental Monitoring Authority. 117, the sum of 221,821,422 be the new capital expenditure slum regeneration in Lagos State Urban Renewal Agency. 118, a new budget line, capital expenditure, development of healthcare, be created with the sum of 4,157,481,535 in the Ministry of Health. 119, the sum of 4,114,957,641 be the new capital expenditure, construction of new Mercy General House, new Mercy Children Hospital, and the sum of 15 billion for the construction of 12 flagship PAC to be removed in the Ministry of Health. The sum of 1,670,869,161 be the new overhead cost, public health epidemic in the Ministry of Health. 121, the sum of 400 million be the new capital expenditure, last with facility management in the Ministry of Health. 122, the sum of 17,667,800 naira be the new capital expenditure in Lagos State Broad Transfusion. 123, the sum of 20,938,500 be the new capital expenditure in Lagos State Health Facility Monitoring and Accreditation Agency. 124, the sum of 26,017,340 be the new capital expenditure ICT for health insurance LSHA in Lagos State Health Management Agency. 125, the sum of 940 million be the new overhead cost HSC capacity building in Health Service Commission. 126, the sum of 905 million be the new overhead cost IPP intervention diesel MEPB in the Ministry of Economy Planning and Budget. 127, the sum of 37,728 naira 140 and 5.2 million be the new capital expenditure LASUCOM and LASUCOM accreditation respectively in the Lagos State College of Medicine. 128, the sum of 52,557,522 be the new capital expenditure in Lagos State University Teaching Hospital. 129, the sum of 41,082,400 naira be the new capital expenditure in the Board of Traditional Medicine. 130, the sum of 361,584,69 naira be the new capital expenditure maintenance support for PAC centers in primary health care board. 131, the sum of 40,545,816 be the new capital expenditure in the Lagos State Aid Control Agency. 132, the sum of 94,692,159 and the sum of 9,500,000 be the new subvention and capital expenditure Lagos State Accident and Emergency Center, Drug and Medical Consumable respectively in the Lagos State Accident and Emergency Center. 133, the sum of 449,188,522 and 408,262,099 be the new subvention Christian Pilgrim Welfare Board, capital expenditure respectively Ministry of Home Affairs, Ministry of Home Affairs respectively in the Ministry of Home Affairs. 134, the sum of 289,181,820 and 3,147,699,265 be the new capital expenditure Sport Commission and construction of 8 stadiums respectively in Lagos State Sports Commission. 135, the sum of 1,860,805,367 and 1,185,000,000 be the new capital expenditure Ministry of Education and construction rehabilitation of schools respectively in the Ministry of education. The sum of 1,855 million be the new capital expenditure, scrip, renovation, furniture for primary school in the special committee for the rehabilitation of public school. 137, the sum of 33,322,479 be the new capital expenditure in the Office of Education Quality Assurance. 138, the sum of 555,487,409 be the new capital expenditure in Lagos State Technical and Vocational Education Board. 139, the sum of 908,185,852 be the new overhead court, TESCOM capacity building in the Teaching Service Commission. 140, the sum of 1,980,108,744 and 1,985,000,000 and 1,144,571,669 be the new capital expenditure, Office of Special Advisor on Education, Education Trust Fund, and Tertiary Institute Rehabilitation for respectively the Office of, it's now a Ministry of Ministry of Tertiary Education. Now Ministry of Tertiary Education is noted in the report. 141, the sum of 11,966,913, 16,264,600, 30,820,857, 14,634,400, and 27,745,960, and 30,680 naira be the new capital expenditure, districts 1 to 6 respectively in the education district 1 to 6. 142, the sum of 102,415,656 be the new capital expenditure in the State Universal Basic Education Board. 143, the sum of 111,051,194 be the new capital expenditure in the Lagos State Library Board. 144, the sum of 23,883,314 be the new capital expenditure in the Agency for Mass Education. 145, the sum of 9,447,788,765 and 1,639,053,342 be the new subvention and capital expenditure respectively, Lagos State University. 142, sum of 5,580,000,000 be the new increase the subvention of Lagos State University, Science and Technology. The sum of 6,120,000,000 and 16,246,619 be the new subvention and capital expenditure, last word accreditation, respectively, in the Lagos State University of Education. 148, the sum of 15,434 naira 695 be the new capital expenditure in the College of Health Technology. 149, the sum of 1,739,000,000 be the new subvention, scholarship bursary fund in Lagos State Scholarship Board. 150, sum of 274,341,390 be the new capital expenditure in Lagos State College of Nursing, Midwifery, and Public Health. 151, the sum of 249,904,083 be the new capital expenditure in the Ministry of Women Affairs and Poverty Alleviation. 152, the sum of 273,785,879 be the new capital expenditure in the Ministry of Youth and Social Development. And finally, 153, the sum of 75,500,000 be the new capital expenditure, special grant, disability fund in this Office of Disability Affairs. The revised budget is now 1,768,014,155,285, while the recurrent expenditure of 761,218,455,055, and the capital expenditure is 1,600,000,000 billion 795,700,023 for the year ending 31st December 2023. Conclusion. The committee expressed its gratitude to Mr. Speaker and the entire House for the opportunity given to carry out this onerous task. Also, we wish to express our appreciation to the clerk and secretariat for their support in the execution of this assignment. Thank you. Olumon Sir Lukman, Chairman, House Committee on Economic Planning and Budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Adewale.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I want to move that the report being presented for reordering by Honorable Olumo be adopted for debate.
Honorable Aina.
I hereby seconded the motion being moved by Honorable Temitope.
Majority leader. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Deputy Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to use this opportunity to thank the chairman of the committee for doing a very, very, very thorough job. In fact, 14-page long. And I believe that most of the issues have been touched on line after line. And at this juncture, I believe that it is due for the next stage of approval. I want to suggest that this House takes this as as recommended by the chairman. I so move.
All in favor, say aye. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Majority Leader. Majority Leader.
Right, Honorable Speaker, distinguished colleagues, may I move that this House revert to plenary? I so move.
Honorable Adewale.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I second the motion as moved.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Majority Leader.
Right Honorable Speaker, distinguished colleagues, at the Committee of Supply, the issue of a bill on reordering was taken, and at the end of the day, the House decided as the report was recommended as a resolution of the House. That was what transpired at the Committee of Supply. Thank you very much.
Honorable Elliott.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I rise to affirm that that's a true recap of what transpired at the Committee of Supply.
Thank you. Honorable Suraj.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I rise to second the affirmation.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Majority Leader. Majority Leader.
Right Honorable Speaker, distinguished colleagues, House of Assembly Bill number 03, Honorable Adams NB, Majority Leader, Honorable Mojid F.A. Chief Whip, Honorable Kasumu A.R. Deputy Majority Leader, Honorable Engineer David S.S. Deputy Chief Whip, Honorable Olumo S.L. Ajiromi Ifeluduwan, Appropriation Amendment Bill 2023, a bill for a law to amend the Appropriation Law 2023 and to authorize the reordering of 761,218,455,055 naira from the Consolidated Revenue Fund for recurrent expenditure and 1,6,795,700,230 naira from the Development Fund for capital expenditure, thereby totaling a revised budget size of 1,768,014,155,285 naira for the year ending 34 December 2023 and for connected purposes. Third reading. Right Honorable Speaker, distinguished colleagues, may I move that this bill be read for the third time? I so move.
Honorable Olumo.
Please give me light. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Motion for third reading. That a bill for the law to authorize the issuance and appropriation of 761,218,455,055 naira from the Consolidated Revenue Fund for recurrent expenditure and 1,600,795,700,230 naira from the Development Fund for capital expenditure, thereby totaling a revised budget size of 1,768,014,155,285 naira for the year ending 31st December 2023 be read a third time. I so move.
Those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. That a bill for law to authorize the issuance and appropriation of 761,218,455,055 naira from the Consolidated Revenue Fund for recurrent expenditure and 1,695,700,230 naira from Development Fund for capital expenditure, thereby totaling a revised budget size of 1,768,155,285 naira for the year ending 31st December 2023 be passed into law. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Yeah. Majority Leader, Mr. Clerk, kindly send a clean copy to the appropriate quarters. Majority Leader, please.
Right Honorable Speaker, distinguished colleagues, I have the approval of the Right Honorable Speaker to move that this House adjourn till Tuesday, 7th of November at 12 p.m. I so move.
Honorable Ogunle,
I rise to support the motion. As moved.
all in favor, say aye. Aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. This House stands adjourned till 7th of November at 12 noon. I rise.